Okay, welcome you guys. My name is Chloe Ballatori. I am a relationship and communication expert. I'm a graduate of Princeton University and Pat Allen's One Institute. Um, I've been doing this work for almost 12 years now. When I discovered this work, it changed my life, and when I saw I was good at it, and I could help people with it, I started doing it myself. Actually, I started out in a group as well with my mentor, Pat Allen. And from doing work in that group is actually what got me started on this road because then people started asking me questions all the time. And I couldn't just be an advice giving machine for people. So that's kind of how I started my business, really. Um, Okay, I use the tools of androgynous semantic realignment, which is Pat Allen's work. I use the tools of transactional analysis, which is the work of Eric Byrne. And I use the tools that I've developed over this period of time. Because again, I've been doing it for a while, and I've also not only have I been teaching this work, but I also practice this work myself. So everything I'm teaching you guys, I've also vetted with myself, with my clients. I'm married over 20 years now, and I can definitely say that my finding this work was pivotal in in changing my life in general, but also definitely saving my marriage. Okay, so what is this work? What's androgynous semantic realignment? What's transactional analysis? It does take a while to understand. I've written 4 books on this work. Here, I'm going to put that in the chat. So if you want to check out some of my books, you can do that. The first one, How to Live, is really a guidebook. And that will kind of give you the basics, and those are all available on Amazon. But I will also give you an introduction tonight. And if you don't understand everything at first, that's fine. Um, a lot of times people understand things more deeply when they practice it. I know for me, I didn't understand this work when I first learned it, but I had a neighbor who demonstrate a tremendous change in her life, like really turned her life around. Went from being a single mom and broke all the time to being incredibly successful, marrying the man of her dreams. I mean, it really made me notice. And so when I saw that, I wanted to know what she had done. And that was this work. And she started a group with Dr. Pat Allen. And that group ultimately became mine. Okay. So when we talk, what does this have to do with relationships? When we talk about dating, when we talk about relationships, successful relationships, the most successful relationships are the ones that are balanced between masculine and feminine energy, also known as yin and yang, yin being feminine, yang being masculine. There's a lot of misunderstanding about what feminine and masculine is. We are all of us both feminine and masculine. So we're kind of all trans because all of us have a feminine side and all of us have a masculine side. And all of us have a balance of these two energies that is unique to us as people. Um, Oftentimes, this balance gets thrown off in childhood, especially if we've had any kind of childhood trauma, because we have to sacrifice our authenticity to attach to the people who own the refrigerator. And in so doing, we form existential beliefs that we think are truisms, but actually are just strategies of the moment. And when we bring those strategies into adult life, that's when we start to experience problems, right? And specifically in our romantic relationships, because that's where our traumas and our issues tend to show up first. So a lot of this work is about rediscovering your authentic self and really doing it by this unique balance that you have of yin and yang qualities. Okay, now often yin and yang energy does follow the gender you're born with. Not always, but often. I'd say 75% of the time. Okay. Maybe 85%. But I work with plenty of couples who are, a feminine man with a masculine woman. That also will work. Gay couples, same deal. But there's always a top and a bottom, right? A butch and a femme. So this work translates really for couples, whether you're homosexual or heterosexual. Okay, now masculine and feminine, very misunderstood terms, but masculine and feminine, like other dualities that we find here on Earth, um, are energies that we need to navigate, right? We have day and night, we have pain and pleasure. One doesn't exist without the other. Every success has a shadow, every catastrophe has a silver lining. This is kind of the basis of yin and yang and of duality. And if you guys want to learn more about yin and yang, you can do so in, here, I'll put this book in here, a book called The Yin Yang of Life by Dr. Kim and Dr. Lee. And these guys really break down almost everything in the world between yin and yang. Okay. Food, wine, exercise, colors, like things that you would not even think of. Okay, but basically, yin, which is the right hemisphere of the brain, is the world of feelings. It's sensuality, sexuality, spirituality, magic. This is the world of passive, patient, vulnerable. Yin energy is receiving. Yin energy is in the world to make it fun, but it's not of the world. A good metaphor for yin energy is air or flowers. Okay. And then on the left side of our brains, we have that linear thinking, that yang energy, right? This is what most of us are in when we're at work. This is competitive, conquering, controlling. Uh, this is giving, taking care of, nurturing. It's the world of ideas. Um, it Yang energy is very much in of the world, right? A good metaphor for yang energy is often bricks. Okay. And so all of us have both of these energies within us. When we get into relationships, it's good to understand which energy is a little stronger. That helps us diffuse power struggles in our relationships. Most problems in relationships are problems of communication, and that means power struggles. Well, and so you're either competing for the thoughts or the yang energy, the control, or you're competing for the yin energy, the feelings, the seduction, right? One is in the extreme is bullying, one is seducing with guilt in the extreme. What I teach is negotiating with love and complementary communication. And so these are tools that really, really help in awkward situations like first dates and also in conflict resolutions. If you want to have a successful relationship, you have to get good at conflict resolution. So that's me. That's this work. I'm gonna open it up to your guys' questions. I um answer questions about dating, relationships. I help people with family stuff. I help people with self-love. I help people with work issues, communication problems. I mean, it really runs the gamut because, again, these tools, this work is based on the universal dynamic of yin and yang. And so when you start to address problems and issues at this root, it just makes the changes that you make radiate out throughout your life, right? So it's just a lot more effective than picking like random problems and trying to just fix those on the fly. Okay, so yeah, ask your questions. I thought, Ashmin, did you have a question?
So yeah, hi Chloe. Thank you so much for the talk and really interesting stuff what you're working on. Uh, The question that I want to ask you, and the reason why I joined this, I looked at, your page on Meetup, and then I said I wanted to join because I had the questions. So I'm a 29-year-old male, and I am new to United States. I came here like 3 years back, did my master's degree, and I currently live here in LA, and I have a job here. So career-wise, I'm doing okay. So I don't have any questions there. But when it comes to dating, I do believe that, in LA, dating is hard. And, it's like, it's such a big city, and it's very difficult to go out and, meet people and connect with them. So I'm trying to develop a framework for myself, that, like, some of the things that I can do so that I can, so I'm a guy, I'm looking for a girl. So, to meet as many girls as possible, and how to connect with them, and how to handle rejection. Because, even the best guy out there
Oh
gets
yeah,
rejected. So,
rejection is absolutely part of the game. And when I work with
yeah,
teenagers, that's one of the first things we deal with is like you
yeah.
gotta desensitize a little to rejection.
So, in fact, after this meetup, I was just going to a bar to try whatever I learned from you. So,
Oh,
I'm,
good. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So, after at 7 o'clock, I'm thinking of going out. So, I want to learn this here. Like, like as a guy, let's say if I approach a girl in a bar or a public place, and, like some icebreaker questions. Hi, how are you? And couple of things.
Okay.
And, when, let's say, this much I know that nobody is going to beat me or slap me. Max to max, they would say that okay, we are not interested in talking to you, so please leave us alone. So it's just that
Okay.
hearing that is like a knife to my heart. So I can't handle rejection. So can you please give some tips there how to handle it?
Yes, yes. And I'm going to give you some tips that are going to set you up for success a little bit more so
Yeah,
that
please.
rejection will be less likely and less abrupt.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you completely single?
Yes, I'm single right now.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to give you an assignment, and you said you want to be in the masculine energy, correct?
Well, that's what attracts a woman to a man. So, yeah,
Okay. Okay. So that means, okay, I'm going to assign you what's known as the 5 flirts. That
five
means you're
flirts,
going to be flirting 5 days a week. 4
5 days.
of those flirts are going to be on the hoof, meaning you're at the grocery store, you're walking your dog, you're exercising. If you see someone that catches your fancy,
Yeah.
you're going to give them 5 seconds of eye contact and smile at the same time. Okay.
Okay.
If they return that,
Yeah.
that's your signal that they're open to you approaching. Okay.
Okay.
So now you don't have to worry about approaching women who actually aren't interested. If they give you 5 seconds of eye contact and a smile, if they return that back, then you know you can make an approach. Okay.
Okay. Understood.
One day a week, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to do it seated. So you're going to pick a place, you're going to go there by yourself,
Yeah.
45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Pick somewhere where you like the women that go there, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
It could be a hotel bar, it could be people are getting dogs to meet
Yeah.
people. It could be a
Yeah.
dog park, it could be, golf course, whatever it is.
Okay.
Go there, and then when somebody comes in that you like, if you have the eye contact and smile exchange,
Okay.
you can invite them to sit with you. You can buy them a coffee. You can, it can go somewhere a little bit more easily than it does on the walking flirts, right? Because those are you're like in the course of your day. And
Yes.
especially if you start to go somewhere regularly and
Yeah.
people get to know you, that
Yeah.
often helps because then, then they feel more comfortable and then you just naturally start talking. Now,
Okay.
in terms of starting the conversation, don't try to reinvent the wheel, okay? If the
Yeah.
girl has responded with eye contact and smile,
Yeah.
then you already know there's some interest there, so you can just bring up anything that's actually happening, right?
Yeah.
If she needs ask if see if she's struggling with carrying her coffee or whatever, ask if
Yeah.
she needs help.
Okay.
uh, you can give a compliment, not a sexual compliment, but
Yes.
like oh, I like that sweater, or just whatever,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
You can observe something in the environment.
Yes.
So it's not so much what you say as much as just the fact that you're making that effort forward. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Understood.
Okay.
Uh,
And so since you're in the masculine energy, it's on you to kind of ask her the questions. You're going
yeah.
to want to be cherishing her feelings.
Yeah.
If she's cold, you give her a sweater, that's like your jacket, or those are like
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
basic things. But think about what that means to cherish a woman's feelings.
Okay.
Um, and then, see how that goes. And hopefully you can move that, you will meet people that way.
Yeah.
If it's going well,
Yeah.
ask
Yeah.
them for their phone number. If now look, if it's going well and they still don't want to give you their phone number, or they still don't want to give you social media or whatever, because some people might be nervous about phone numbers, but they'll give you their Instagram or something.
Yes.
Um, if they say no, okay, they say no. It's okay to ask and it's okay to say no. And
Okay.
don't keep pushing past that point,
Yes.
and understand that there's no shame in just asking, right? The
Okay.
problems occur when people feel ashamed of hearing the no. And so
Yeah.
then they keep pushing to try to
Okay.
get to yes. Don't try to
Yes.
do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Just say, okay, I get it. If a woman's not comfortable, that's reason enough.
Okay.
Maybe I'll see you here. I come here a lot. Maybe I'll see you here again. Have a great day. Whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Great.
try that and let me
Yeah.
know how it goes. I love to get your guys' updates. In addition to answering questions, I often have people who come back and just tell me their updates and tell me what's working. Um,
Yeah.
and a number of people, I've been doing this meetup for almost like about a year and a half, and people like I've had a number of, especially men, getting into relationships from the tools that they've learned here. I mean, you're
Yes.
doing the work. I'm just guiding you, but
Yes.
so try it and let me know how it goes.
Thank you so much for that. I do have more questions, but I would first let the other participants ask their questions
Okay, let's
if
see
they
if
want to.
anybody else has questions. And if they don't, then we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing. Okay. Christian and Angie, do you guys have any questions that you want to ask me about dating, about relationships, about communication? We have a cozy little group tonight. So, this is my one free event that I do, and I'm usually here on Thursday nights. So if you guys want to take advantage of that, please. I know sometimes it's hard. Okay, Christian. Hi, Christian.
Hello.
Hi. How can I help you?
Hi. Uh, my particular dilemma isn't really with dating, more
Okay.
so with friendship and communication.
Okay.
And I'm currently living with a longtime friend,
Uh-huh.
and been like close to 3 years. And pretty much neither of us have been great at communicating. And now it's to the point where there's kind of just tension in the house.
Okay.
And I've put in more effort over the years to communicate more. And I tell him to communicate back with me if there's any issues, but he just refuses to until um until things fester and blow up.
Right. Then it gets worse.
Yeah,
Right.
and I'm guilty of doing the same, but I'm trying to not do that now.
Right.
But
It's tough for two guys.
yeah, I think I'm better at communicating, but you know, I kind of don't like this living situation where there's just tension all the time.
Okay. So, um, what are you thinking? Do you think that do you want to try to work it out, or do you want to just move out?
I still want to move out, but it would be nice if I could maintain the friendship.
Okay. Does he know you want to move out?
No, not yet.
Okay. Do you think that will come as a shock?
Maybe.
Okay. Do you guys have overt fights? Is there like a hot issue that's really hot right now?
Right now, it has to do with his hygiene and him keeping trash and dirty dishes in his room. And he's upset because he feels like it's his room, it's not my business, but it smells, so I have to keep telling him to clean his room.
Right. And
And
what do you guys live in? A two-bedroom apartment? Just the two of you?
yeah, two bedroom.
Okay. So ostensibly it's limited space and his hygiene and disgusting room is making the whole apartment smell bad, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
and he just doesn't really understand.
Right. So he's
Or
refusing to do anything about it.
he cleans when I tell him to clean, but if not, he just lets his room or anything else build up.
So how often do you tell him to clean?
Um, we clean the house maybe two, maybe once or twice a week. And
Okay.
his room, I hardly ever tell him because I kind of feel like I'm stepping over his boundary when I do that.
Because he gets mad or what?
Yeah, yeah, he gets a little moody, and then he gets a little sassy with me.
Okay. But I think maybe that's worth it, you know,
Oh
to
yeah,
up telling him and just let him have his reaction, but
yeah.
still keep telling him because it sounds like at least when you tell him, he does it.
Hmm.
So that's worth it. And if he wants to get pissed off, then that's on him. Look, you guys are two dudes, right?
Hmm.
So ostensibly, if you're in your masculine energy is about getting your thoughts respected. So it's really not on you to cherish his feelings and to worry about whether he's upset or moody or grumpy or his feelings are hurt because you asked him to clean his room. His room stinks. It's ruining the smell of the place. You have every right to ask that he clean his room. And I'm just saying, like, don't do it with attitude. Just like, hey, dude, your room's smelling really bad again. Do you think you could hit it with the with the mop or whatever you want to say? However you want to say it.
Yeah.
You think I'd really, I'd really appreciate if you jump in there, because I mean, just having a little sassy reaction isn't that bad. Now, if you think if he's in a really bad mood and you think it's a sensitive subject, then you're gonna want to make an appointment. But I'm thinking with this guy, if you're like, hey, I want to talk to you, because I have a whole rubric that I teach called the Stroke and Stand about making appointments to talk about things that are, upsetting or issues so that we don't just barrel in on people.
You see,
But
I've done that. So we did that like 2 days ago, but he's such a terrible communicator. He just shuts down and he doesn't talk.
okay, so when you do these appointments, I'll teach it to you and tell me, I understand you did have a meeting about it, but when you use this rubric, it can be really disarming. So maybe try this rubric, okay?
Okay.
Um, so first you tell him, John, or whatever his name is, John, hey, there's something I want to talk to you about, hopefully tonight. If not, um, let me know when, or hopefully right now. If not, hopefully today, if not, let me know when. Because you don't want to let it go on too long. Hopefully you can schedule it in the same day that you bring it up. And just give him the general topic. It's about the apartment. And so then you'd start out and you'd go, hey, we've been friends for a long time. And to me, that's the most important, the friendship. So you give him a compliment, what's known as a stroke, right? And you just kind of, reassure him this is the friendship's not on the line, right? Because a lot of times people won't bring problems up because, in their experience, once an issue comes up, there's no way to resolve it. And it means the end of the relationship, right? And a lot of us weren't raised with conflict resolution skills so that when problems come up, it becomes terrifying because as a child, if you displease a parent, often that can mean you don't get dinner, right? You don't get help with your homework. And so people become like, as you described, very avoidant because they don't want to suffer what is the price tag of bringing up a problem. Um, so the first thing to do is again, give that compliment and give him that reassurance so that he knows, This isn't the end of your friendship happening right here. This is just a discussion about the apartment. Then you say, okay, I love living with you. I think it's great. I mean, for the most part, we get along great. It's been nice to have you around, just whatever. Say those nice things. Then say, however, as you know, this thing with the dishes is just a problem for me. I am not able to withstand the smell. Whatever you want to say, but make it an I statement. So it's not like you need to be doing this. You should be doing this. In general, we don't want to control other people, but we want to let them know what the price and the price tag is of their behavior. Everything we do has a price and a price tag. So, you just tell him, I can't be in the apartment. So, what do you think about cleaning your room like 3 times a week instead of twice a week? Or what do you think about cleaning it more often? And then, if you don't do it, what do you think about my reminding you? I mean, it's just, you can say, I'm fine with doing that. I just noticed there's a little pushback. So I just want to get your thoughts on it, and see what he has to say. If he shuts down, he shuts down, but maybe with the compliment and phrasing it in an I statement. So it's not like you don't want to shame him or should on him, you know?
Hmm.
So you never want to say, look, dude, you should be cleaning your room a lot. You seem like a Shrek, or whatever. You don't want to like do things that are insulting. And that's how you do it, is by making I statements and not using words like should. And then you ask him his thoughts. If he shuts down, hopefully he says, you know what, I'm good. And if I forget, please do remind me, right? That would be ideal. But maybe he doesn't. Try twice, go back and forth twice. After twice, if he's like, and you're like, well, really? Da, da, da. And he's like, no. Then you say, okay, you have every right to keep your room a total pit. But I do want you to know, I don't know how long I can live like this. So you just let him know what the price tag is. That way, when you do tell him you're going to be moving out, he'll know why. It's not him. You guys can still be friends. It's the smells.
That's a good way to look at it.
And really, when you bring it up, that, like I said, make sure you differentiate between the friendship and just this practical problem of the smell in the apartment.
Mm.
So give that a try and let me know how it goes.
Okay. Well, thanks.
You are welcome. It's interesting to use those tools because people are often really shocked at how well they work. Okay. Sophia.
Hey Chloe, it's been a while, but I just came here to update you on the tips I've been implementing from your book and also from these meetings. Do you happen to remember about the crib situation in November?
Oh yeah, you were there was a guy who was interested in you, who was gonna come and build the crib for you and put it together, and you were like a little trepidatious, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it didn't work out, but it's the closest I've ever gotten to it working out. I decided to end things because he wasn't taking care of himself.
Oh,
He was
so in that whole time, so that did lead to you guys having a relationship or dating.
Yeah, we were
Okay.
we were and I really liked the idea of leaning into like finding somebody who is like masculine energy because I got tired of being the man in the relationships.
Yes, I
And
remember that.
yeah, and then I there was a roadblock where I was like, I'm not happy with the amount of meetups that we have. You have every right to be busy, but it makes me feel like I need to start looking for a replacement when I don't hear from you for
Very good. Very good.
he didn't address that. And
Okay.
I I brought it up with him. He said, "Oh, my ex ghosted me," and I flicked him and I said, "You're a ghost." And he said, "I'm pale." And um yeah, things just spiraled. Like he just ghosted me completely after that interaction because I said I wasn't ready for a relationship, that I didn't think we were a good fit, but I'd love to keep being like friends with benefits. And I
Mm-hmm.
guess he had And like he tried to keep me on the hook. But he had a book that he let me borrow, and I was like, I'm moving in 2 weeks across the street and it's gonna get lost in the move. Like, do you want to pick it up somewhere sometime? And he was like, I'll come over during the week. And I was like, no, dude, I'm moving. It's
Right.
gonna get lost. And he ghosted me for 2 hours, and I just sent a picture of the book at his church that he goes to with an arrow. And then yeah, 30 seconds later, he texted me and said, oh, I don't go to that church anymore. Can you hang on to it? And I was like, no, you had 2 hours to respond. Wait, let me pull up the text. Like, I just like had a moment.
You were done with him at that point.
Yeah, I was like, TJ, I don't want to play any games. You
Right.
had your respond when I asked where you wanted to pick up the book, but you chose not to. So I left the book at your church. And
Right.
then he just responded with okay. And then I sent a breakup text saying, like, I want to be upfront with you and let you know that I'm not happy with the way things have been going between us. I feel like my time and energy haven't been respected, and I think it's best if we part ways. I wish you all the best in the future. And he didn't respond.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I love that you told him how you felt about the amount of time that you guys were spending together. And, even though that didn't result in he and you, walking to the altar, at least, um, but you still got that information, which is so important. And you got it within the first few months, right? Like
Yeah, it
just that simple interaction, just you telling him, it's so important to know whether or not somebody really cares about cherishing your feelings or has the capability to act on that information. So it was such a great thing that you did that you told him. And then he has the freedom, like you said, to respond in the way that he did. Even though it was probably painful the way he responded, it's so much better to know now.
yeah.
And not only that, but you've made a success for yourself on it because you cherished your own feelings by expressing them to him and giving him that opportunity. And then you took an action based on it, which was, okay, you're not going to show up for me. We're not going to be together anymore. And so that you did something. Do you feel more confident?
I do. I feel like it was good practice. Like I kind of knew from the beginning, like I don't know if this guy's relationship material because like he had issues with like taking care of himself. Like he was like, I ran out of deodorant, and I was like, I literally pulled some out from the closet. Like, bro,
Right.
other just things like
Right. But you have to try. I mean, people do often rise to the occasion. So I commend you for trying and for using the tools and for clearly communicating to him. I think I definitely think he's been given the opportunity to know why it didn't work out. What
oh,
he does with that information is up to him. But for you, this is, doing these things really does build your confidence because what you're showing yourself, the universe, other people, is that you want your feelings cherished. And if they're not cherished, you're willing to cherish them yourself. And that's so important. And so I really kudos to you. Excellent work.
oh yeah, I actually feel like relieved now that I'm not like having to wait by my phone and be like, oh, is he mad? Like, why is he not texting me? Like, he would be super consistent in the beginning
Right.
and like text me as soon as he got home from work. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, he's kissing the
Perfect.
ground.
Yeah.
But like, then all of a sudden, like, that changed. And I realized, like, well, if you can't sustain that, I already told you these are my expectations for a relationship, preferences, boundaries, rules. And one of them, I said daily communication. And I said we need to be in contact more often if we
Right.
want to
So he
maintain the connection.
knows.
Yeah, he knows. Care. He dropped the ball every single time, so I just broke up with him.
Good. And it didn't even take that long. And, it's good. You know, a lot of times guys will come on strong and then they'll back up a little bit and they'll try to kind of either consciously or unconsciously, subconsciously see if you chase them. So I love that you didn't do that, that you were just
Yeah.
like, here's my thing. And, you know, you didn't take the bait. You know, you're
Yeah.
like, here's the price. Here's the cost of admission and having a relationship with me, you know.
Yeah. I I felt like I was kind of chasing him. Like when he first started ghosting me, like it was I asked him a question because I was trying to like make him help me
That's
stroke his ego.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I was like, look at this list of things that my house needs repairs on and like tell me what you think is most important because that was like his job.
Right, right. And he was very eager on the crib, I remember.
Yeah, he was. He set up a table, like he would help me with stuff. And I asked him about this list and he just ghosted me for like 2 days. And I was like worried, like, gosh, I don't know what was going through his head. And then I asked a follow up question. Hey, did you have any thoughts on that list? Like, I got to send my recommendations to the contractors pretty soon. And he was like, oh, yeah, like here's blah, blah, blah. Um,
So that's not chasing. That's asking for help.
yeah.
Chasing is, do you want to go out? Why aren't you calling me? Don't you
Oh,
like me anymore? That's chasing.
oh yeah, maybe I was chasing them because like after there was another situation like that. I was like, I need to get rid of my old wedding dress. Like if your sisters or cousin want it, let me know. And then he didn't get back to me. I was like, did anybody want it? It might get lost in the move. And then he was like, no, nobody wanted it. I can keep asking. And then a couple days later, I texted saying I'm unhappy with the amount of frequency of meetups. I need at least once a week of hangouts.
Mhm.
That was my list of requirements in a any type of relationship. And he
Right,
was like, "Oh, I've been so busy with work." And then the next few days, he just kept giving more excuses, like his
right,
phone off, like bullshit, dude.
right,
And offered a quick fix, like, "Oh, I'll come over tomorrow," but like. That was the last time we met, and that was like a week and a half ago. And then he just ghosted me after we hooked up
right.
for the. I was like, "Dang, like, are you
Well, I
having like?"
mean, he was a young guy, right?
Yeah, he was 25.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, sometimes they scare themselves too. They get very excited and wrapped up, and then they suddenly are like, "Oh shit, what am I doing?" You know. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if you hear from him within the next 8 weeks. You know, we've talked about 8 weeks being kind of the average rumination period, right? In psychology is 8 weeks. So typically I think, you know, I tell clients he's got 8 weeks to reach out to you. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, don't hold your breath. I think you did everything right. I think you did a great job. And I think this is really laying the groundwork for your next relationship.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a lot better and hopefully it's like something that like he was in the beginning.
Exactly. We need that consistency. You will.
Yeah.
You'll find it. You're doing great. I'm very impressed with how you handled that. Excellent work. And thank you for the update. Thank you for the update.
Yeah. Thanks for the tips.
You are welcome. And then, you know, now you just gotta start and you can find your next fish or few fishies. Okay. Does anybody else have any more questions? Or you can ask me a question about something that we've already discussed tonight. Okay. Oh, Ashmeen, another question. Okay. Okay, hit me with another question, Ashmeen.
Yes, thanks, Chloe. So, uh, because we have time, that's why.
Yes.
There are two quick questions that I want to understand. So, you certainly gave me a framework as to what all I need to do when I go out and meet somebody or see somebody. But I want to understand this. Like, as a guy, I know what guys want from a woman or, from somebody that I have met for the first time. But I wanted to ask this to you that what is a woman thinking when a guy approaches her? And what are some of the things that women actually look for in guys on an average? Like everybody has their own preferences, but
Right.
some common things that women look for. And the second question is that the guys out there who are really good at attracting women, what are some of the things that they are doing differently than most of the guys who aren't that great at attraction?
Okay, so first of all, you're saying what do women look for? So like you said, I mean everybody's unique, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But overall, what you want to focus on in looking for a woman, in getting to know a woman is cherishing her feelings. Okay?
okay, yeah,
Um, so whatever that means in the context of what you're doing. We talked about that a little bit already.
yes,
So that's one thing. You just heard from Sophia. Consistency,
yeah,
is big. When you're looking at having a relationship, what you're looking at is exclusivity, consistency, and longevity. Okay. Um, Longevity. Do we want the same things? So over time, depending on the woman that you are with, you need to okay, so you need to have three elements. You need chemistry, communication, and compatibility. Chemistry is pretty much a gift from God, right? You have it or you don't. And often you can have chemistry for people who aren't very good looking or aren't very suitable for you, but you still have that chemistry. Compatibility you can work on a little bit sometimes. That means, do you want the same things? Now, you might really like somebody, but they might not. They might want to live in California and you might want to live in New York, right? And that
okay,
might be too big of a barrier. So compatibility, do you want the same things? And again, in compatibility, you're also going to be looking at, you know, do you guys have complementary energy? Do you complement each other, right? Somebody in the relationship has to cook. You both don't have to cook, but somebody has to be able to do that. That's just an example. So you
okay,
want that complementary energy. And
yeah,
then the third thing is communication. That's what we can work on the most. And again, these communication tools really help you make sure that when you hit a road bump, or in the beginning when things are really awkward, that you are able to maintain that complementary energy without getting into a power struggle.
okay,
So, I would focus for you, cherishing the feelings, being consistent, making sure your words and deeds line up. So if you tell her you're going to call at 5:46, call at 5:46 or tell her why you're not calling at 5:46. Sophia just gave a really good example where she told the guy, "Hey, I need to hear from you every day. I want to hear at least like, hey, how are you, whatever."
yeah,
And if you're confused about it, you can ask her, "How does that make you feel?" "I want to
okay,
go to dinner with you. How do you feel about that?"
yeah, understood, understood,
So start there.
yeah,
Um, when you talk about men who are really good with women, I mean, different people have different definitions of that.
okay,
Some people think, playboys are really good with women because they've got a lot of women running around after them.
yeah,
That's not what I think is really good with women. But I do think that oftentimes those guys are really charming and they know how to cherish a woman's feelings.
yeah,
So even if they're not consistent, they're able to do a bunch of things up front that then gets the woman hooked. And if they don't have these tools, the woman will kind of stay hooked to hope that the man will go back to the way he was in the beginning. Again, Sophia was such a great example of that because she was saying she was tempted. She was like, wait, where was the guy I met before? Um, so that's kind of the problem with Playboys is they're telling a bunch of women the same thing and they're not
okay,
consistent.
yeah,
So you don't want to do that. Again, the most successful relationships are those with complementary energy. Um, the most successful relationships are relationships in which both people in the relationship are interested in the union, right?
yeah,
When you have a man, you have a woman, or you have two men, you have two, whatever the combination. You have your individual preferences and the other person's individual preferences. But then when you come together, you make a third entity, which is the relationship.
Yes.
And so what you really commit to is that, because everybody can be a jerk sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Um, but you commit to the relationship rather than committing to the specific person so that you do things in the service of the relationship that you might not do if you were alone.
Yeah.
And so those are the most successful relationships.
Sure. Sure. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. I hope that helps.
So,
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to. Okay. Okay, good. Did you want to add anything?
no, thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And, let me know how it goes. I love hearing your guys' updates. Um, okay. Does anybody have another question or comment? Sophia. Yes.
Oh, I was tempted. I don't know. I don't want a relationship or even a friends with benefits relationship with this guy that I was talking to,
Right.
but I still feel like we had like a good connection at first. And I'm kind of tempted to reach back out maybe in a couple weeks and be like, what do you think about going back to being just friends? Do you think how do you think that's going to pan out?
Too soon.
Hmm.
I think that's too soon. I think
Okay.
it's really hard to go back into a friendship after you've already been romantic. Mostly it doesn't work. Sometimes it does work, especially if you were more friends than you ever were romantic. Um, but I think again, you got to give it at least 8 weeks.
All right.
If in
But
eight weeks you still want to be friends, you'll have more clarity in 8 weeks. Eight
yeah.
weeks from the last time you spoke. So if you still want to be friends after 8 weeks, you know, then we can address it at that time. Um, Sometimes the desire for friendship, similar actually to the desire to get your stuff back, which can happen at the end of a relationship. Um, Sometimes these things are really excuses to kind of stoke that need for reconnection, but it often makes things harder. So let's just give it 8 weeks.
All right.
Okay. Okay. And Christian.
Well,
Hi. Did you have another question?
yeah.
Okay.
Uh, It was I would just like to have your thoughts on this. Maybe just
Okay.
vent it a little. But I'm kind of in a place right now where I'm not sure if I want to be in a relationship, but I also still desire companionship. Or if I meet a girl I like, I still want to ask her out, but I don't really feel like I can give them what they want, so I don't do it.
What do you
And
think it is they want? Are you assuming that, or are you actually coming up against that?
I'm probably assuming it, but I also just go on dates and we communicate what we want, then it doesn't work out. And I would still like to go out on dates, but I just don't think I would like a relationship.
Why? What are your reasons for not being able to do the relationship?
I recently got out of one, and I feel like I don't want to rush things. And also, I would like to focus on other things like a career or my family right now.
Okay. Um, well, I mean, just because you got out of a relationship recently doesn't really, I mean, those aren't, I hear you, but the most successful men are in relationships. So even if you want to focus on your career, Don't you think it'll be easier to focus on your career if you have someone in your corner? You know, I would look at what are the reasons you don't want to be in a relationship and what are the reasons you don't think women want to be with you in a relationship. Because you said, I don't think I can give them what they want. Because I want to see if those reasons are have any like logic or validity to them, or if they're just old scripted patterns and ideas, because all of us have a script or a narrative that we formed about ourselves in childhood. That's what I talked about in the beginning. And sometimes those scripts trip us up when we become grown-ups and they don't serve us anymore. The things that served us as children and were coping mechanisms don't serve us anymore. So, for example, what you're saying, anticipating that some unknown woman is going to be dissatisfied with whatever you have to give is not a script that serves you, and it's really illogical. When you hear me say it that way, do you see how illogical that is?
I do.
There's too many variables out there. You're literally like you're shutting down the whole rest of the world with that. So we have to examine what these statements are. And if they aren't true, then we want to take a counteraction to them.
Mm.
So one thing you could do, like between this week and next week, is write down when you're thinking this way, write down all the negative statements and beliefs you have about yourself and relationships. Okay. And then when you're not feeling as negative, maybe take a day or 12 hours, or you could even bring it back here and we could read it, or you could schedule a private with me. Um, we'll go through that list and see if those statements are true statements or not. Because if they're not true statements, then you're just holding yourself back for no reason. And, most of us are guilty of a certain amount of self-sabotage, but that's part of doing this work is kind of clearing those patterns out so that you can get the love that you want. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. And I see Angie, you wrote here, I'm in the same boat. Okay, so you do that too. And I'm gonna put my credentials in here again. If you guys want to reach out to me, you can do it through my website. I also teach this work in module packages a few times a year. That'll be coming up in the spring. This will also, I'm on Instagram. I put up content every day. So if you guys have a quick question, you can always reach out to me. If I can do it, I will answer it. If not, we can set up a session or we can meet back here next week. And then this session will be available wherever you get your podcasts and also on YouTube. So thank you for coming and thank you for sharing. And I will see you guys soon, hopefully. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.